do have to talk about the G20. Our good friend Matt Kazee with 33rd Parallel News is with us. He's on the ground in Pittsburg, the former great steel industrial capital of the country. Now a scrap heap. And how appropriate, Matt, that the G20 is meeting there, the dead end of our industrial great nation right there in Pittsburg. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good, Jack. The only thing I say is, when is it going to be next? Flint, Michigan?
Right.
I mean, give me a break. It was, what a spectacle it's been, Jack. It's just been unbelievable the past 2 days. It's been an amazing couple of days. A lot of different groups who are normally opposed to one another trying to get along well enough to protest the G20.
Yeah, you're all on the same side here for the last couple of days, allegedly, yes. Matt, until you start having a conversation over a beer and they start calling you a capitalist pig.
I heard a lot of that today. Today it was a lot worse, Jack. I'm just kind of frightened to see so many socialist youth groups that are mobilized and really preaching the end of America for a new socialist form of government, like they're going to do any better.
You know, that's funny, Matt, because that's exactly what the G20 was talking about, the end of America. I guess they have. What are these people protesting against? Please help me.
Yeah, I know. And I actually saw one of the socialist featured speakers up today who was actually calling on the crowd and asking them why we're not smashing windows. Why aren't you out destroying property? You need to go smash windows and destroy property. And I was stunned.
Was he wearing regular issue military boots? And
it was a woman, actually.
Yeah. Well, yes, you can't go to one of these things without running into, I don't know, hundreds of provocateurs. In fact, maybe half the crowd out there might have been provocateurs. Well, what was going on yesterday and today? We've been hearing a lot of reports about police abuse, sound cannons, mace, brutal force. I know Cindy Sheehan ran up against that and some of our other friends out there. What have you seen as far as the abuse of police power, the police state, and what could, I think, assumably be called martial law in Pittsburgh right now? Guess he didn't like that question, folks. He must have popped off. Cell phone on the ground. Matt Kazee, 33rd Parallel News. He's also doing a stint, I believe, at the Oracle Broadcasting Network. He should be over here. Longtime survivor of the great Revere Radio Network that airs this program as well. And we're going to be looking for, that'd probably be the cue that he dropped off. Maybe we can call him back. That would be, we're looking for other people to be calling in the first hour today. I'll tell you what I know about this. This is really in line with everything that has been going on ever since the economic 9/11 hit. This was the perfect excuse for all factions to go in and do a reorganizing. Reform is the word of the year. They were saying change. They meant reform. And when I hear the word reform, as you know, you listen to this show, I hear the word perestroika. Okay, and that's somewhat where we are now. G20 leaders declare the summit a success. Did you know that this is the third one this year, in less than a year? Usually these only take place once a year, but because of the massive geopolitical and economic upheaval, let's call it that, these people have gotten together to save us. They're going to bring the change that, well, not that we need or not that we even want, but they're going to get that's going to be shoved down our throats. Major world leaders have formed themselves into a new board of directors for the global economy. That group will take over the job that's been done for more than 3 decades by a smaller group of wealthiest countries known as the G8. This is a great contribution by Matt Kazee, by the way. Is that might be actual sounds from the street in Pittsburgh. Maybe it's one of these sound cannons. Folks, cover your ears. Hear no evil. Kind of hard for me to go over this with that, but that's how we do it here. That's how we roll on this network. Let's just keep that going. It's a good sound effect. So the major world leaders, folks, have formed themselves. No one voted for this. No one had a debate about this. They decided they would form themselves into a new board of directors for the global economy. And what does that say to you? I can understand where some of these anarchists are coming from, because basically what that says is the global economy is one company, and these are the board of directors. There's various franchises Used to be called nations. They are vowing to overhaul lax financial regulations. That's the problem. Work harder to control dangerous imbalances that contributed to the financial meltdown. That is exactly the solution that was promised, exactly the solution that so many Americans and people around the world think that they want. I don't think they quite understand the full complexity of what these regulations actually mean. And I'm not just going to go into this hardwire rant here about capitalism. I understand that there's no utopia. This certainly isn't one. Alleged President Cousin Barry Obama and other so-called leaders declared that going forward, their meetings of the group of 20 nations would be the primary way of coordinating global economic policy. In a way, you can almost see this as centralization, uncentralized centralization. How about if I try that on you? Used to be a group of 8, super centralized. Now they're bringing in, well, you can do the math, 12 more alleged countries. This is because, of course, the earth is flattening, as Krugman talks about. I guess it's Krugman. Maybe I said Friedman the other, not Thomas Friedman, but the other Friedman from the New York Times. It's Krugman that works at Princeton at the Woodrow Wilson Institute. I believe is he the one that wrote The World is Flat? There's a new book out, The World is Curved. I'm going to get that guy on the program. He takes on these Keynesian policies, these neoliberal policies, which I think everybody understands. You know, this is where this is coming from. But this group takes over now. So it's been expanded, yet the policies that they are going to be enforcing have contracted. Very, very tricky, if you ask me. The old system, quote, the old system of international economic cooperation is over. Did you know that? Well, they've declared it. They declared it here this week in Pittsburg, of all places. The old system, in other words, the old world order of international economic cooperation, that is each country doing the best it can for its own citizens and cooperating, if they can, with other countries around the world, that's over. The new system, as of today, has begun, so declared New World Order-loving stooge, British Prime Minister Gordon Brown. The G20, which includes not only developed nations, but fast-growing emerging markets such as China, Brazil, India. Run, Brazil, run, would become the premier economic organization for dealing with economic management around the world. And that's just what we need. Because we just haven't had that. Really what we've had, folks, if you haven't noticed, is this laissez-faire, Austrian economics working, the free market, going on all cylinders, and it just didn't make it because of the evil, greedy, rich white people who just couldn't settle for one apple, but had to have your apple and my apple and your pie and my pie. But Jack, is the solution to this to take my pie and give it to the poor? Yes! You're a winner! Ding, 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 ding! You've won the prize! So instead of the money being taken from you, let's say 50% of your wealth, your earnings, and going to the richest 1%, now the richest 1% will still get the 50%, but another 20% will go to the poor.